All right, we're live.
All right, welcome everyone to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Joint Development Authority of Athens-Clarke County and the City of Winterville. Close enough. We have begun. I need to bring up the agenda so I can see it. I'm looking at Ilka's stuff right now. Sorry. 10 minutes. There we go. Agenda. Thank you. All right, I call to order. I'd like to put forth a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second to that motion? If you second it, say your name. Brioka.
Errol, second.
Who was
Okay.
my first?
Well, it was me actually. I think
Okay.
I think I'm allowed to make, motions, but it's
Got it.
better if somebody else does. But for this one, let's just I move it and Dodd seconds it.
Great, thank you.
Is there any other discussion of the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. We have the minutes from the March 4th meeting. I know that.
It's Kurtz. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Errol, second.
All right, Dodd Farrell seconded before Erica got there. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion of the motion? Anybody have any corrections that they know of? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from May 4th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Next agenda item is old business, which is an update. Maybe we can tag team this, but it's got Dan's name on it. So I'll let you take the lead, Dan, on this.
Well, this is the review of the food bank deal. And at first, I'd like to laud, L-A-U-D, our chairman for putting up with the slings and arrows of this deal.
It was kind of a pain, yeah.
Oh, it's not over yet. It's
Don't tell me that, Dan. I don't want to hear that.
well, you've heard the old saying that a camel is a horse designed by a committee.
Okay.
This was a transaction designed by a committee. We have the ACCGov, we have the JDA, we have the regional commission, we have the food bank, we have DCA. You could sell tickets. That said, it's going along. I mean, everybody's cooperating, of course, and it's going along well.
Mhm.
It's not an uncomplicated deal. The very fact that you've got so many interested parties and there's federal money behind it and state money, hopefully, coming behind it. But we have a seller who's discovered the profit motive, and that's the seller of land, so it's cost some extra.
Yep.
But you all may recall that I think in January we adopted a resolution, which every now and then I get my money's worth from these resolutions because I put as much in there as I think might come up. This was back in January. And it's been helpful to have some of the things anticipated and covered. So we started out authorizing the memorandum of agreement between the JDA and the food bank. There's an MOU which has been amended between Athens, the UCC government, ACCGov, and it's not the Uniform Commercial Code, but ACCGov and the food bank and the regional commission. And there's an intergovernmental agreement between ACCGov and the JDA. And there is also, I think, an IGA between ACCGov and DCA. I'm not as familiar with that. So those things have been authorized and have been signed, and they're described in the approving resolution, and we're moving forward on that. So most recently, that has meant the purchase and sale agreement for the land. It's an old axiom in real estate. If you don't control the site, you don't have a project. And the seller up-traded us on the cost, and the food bank has stepped in. They've got some skin in the game with this. The purchase and sale agreement, hereinafter referred to as the PSA, has been signed by both parties, but has a couple of contingencies in it. One of them requires the JDA board to approve it. So I felt comfortable enough with the execution of a purchase and sale agreement that was not binding until it was approved. So that's something that we will need to do. And I want to wait and get a little closer to the closing to do that, although we could do it tonight if you wanted to. The effective date of the purchase and sale agreement is July 22nd. The closing has to be within 30 days of that, which is, about 3 weeks from now. So it's in August. We'd have to have a special meeting to approve if we waited. But if you don't mind, I'd like to wait just in case something happens. I'd like to keep my options open as long as possible. In the same time frame, because the lease and the acquisition of the site are supposed to roughly coincide in time, I'm working on the lease between the JDA and the food bank, and that's what's called a build-to-suit lease. It's not like, we've got a warehouse out there and we're looking for tenants. We have to build that warehouse to specs that don't exist yet, and to be built by a contractor that hasn't been selected yet under a construction contract that hasn't been prepared yet. So, that's my lot in life. I have completed the draft of the lease. I'm trying to finish it up today so I can distribute it. There is a work letter that goes with it, which is like a construction contract about a construction contract. That's the construction deal between the JDA and the food bank, which generates the construction contract between the JDA and the general contractor. ACCGov is handling all that, thank God, and I'm sure it'll be handled very well and we'll be ready when we need it. But as backup to the purchase and sale agreement, because it is an obligation. There are exits from it, but there are costs that get incurred. There's real estate due diligence. You can't buy real estate without doing a phase one, without doing a title exam, without having title insurance and things that cost money. So since our name's on it, I managed to convince the food bank with only a little wrangling that they should provide a letter promising to pay all those costs. Ideally they'd get paid by the CARES grant, but if not, then we've got a source for payment. And that is also in place. So those things are moving along actually with good speed, considering everything that's involved. I'm not aware of anything now that would derail this, and hopefully it won't get derailed because the food bank is a very worthy project. And the JDA is fulfilling its role. As in Georgia, we're an authority-centric state, and the JDA is central to this transaction, but we've been able to maintain our integrity as a conduit that's not supposed to have any liability to anybody for anything. So far, so good. There's still things that could, it's a construction deal. Things can go wrong with construction. There could be underground conditions. There could be cost overruns. There could be any number of things, but none of them are on the radar screen that I'm aware of now. And my best prediction is that we'll be asking you to meet again briefly later this month to approve the PSA prior to the closing. The construction award, we're actually going to have to update the MOA because it had some assumptions in it which have not materialized, like the design contract being between us and the architect. But it calls for construction. Notice the construction contract to be awarded in November, and a notice to proceed with the construction to be issued also in November, which you would expect, and for the project closeout to occur in December of next year. So this is a fairly fast track construction project, but I'm very hopeful that the last active thing that we will have to do is to actually, I'll have to review the construction contract and that sort of stuff, but I expect it'll be fine. We'll have to meet and authorize the execution of it. And at that point, hopefully we can just stand back and watch things go the way they should. ACCGov is hiring an owner's representative. SCANSCA reviewed that contract and had some comments, and it looks pretty good. And you'll have the usual cast of characters with a construction deal. But at that point in time, the people whose business it is to do this sort of thing will be doing it, and the JDA will be able to stand back and supervise. So that's kind of where we are, and we're not in a bad place at all.
Yeah, and I've got a question. The purchase and sale agreement, it's my understanding that I signed that on behalf of the JDA, and there wasn't further action on the part of the JDA to accept the purchase and sale agreement. Are you telling me that that's still not a fully executed document in legal standing that I signed? Huh?
There is a contingency, and that contingency is that we approve it legally. It's the condition subsequent.
I didn't remember reading that. Okay. I knew that the financial stuff was a deal breaker for us, and the food bank, met the financial obligation, but I didn't know that the contingency was that we approve it.
That's right. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that the chair sign a completely legally binding contract without board approval, even though it was
Yeah.
anticipated. So,
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
yes, sir.
Does anybody have any questions for Dan? I mean, I saw the price tag. It's more than doubled. It was originally about $220,000, and now it's $585,000 for the same piece of land. So somebody saw a big cash cow and said, I ain't gonna take that little piece of money. Anyway, it is what it is.
Well, and it's unfortunate because this is a charitable thing to do. And I mean, I guess that's the business motive, and supposedly they had another buyer. But
Yeah.
anyway, we were lucky that the food bank was able to and was willing to step up on that.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Any other questions for Dan?
Dan, thanks a ton for working on this. I just want to say, appreciate it very much. I mean, it's going to be an important project for the region. And
Yep.
so, despite somebody's profit motive out there, I know the rationale
what
for
it
the
is.
project is truly beneficent. I had been contemplating just how curious it was that at some point, I mean, there's going to be a lease for a project that doesn't physically exist yet. And
That happens a lot.
yeah, no, and then I sort of contemplated, well, then it does happen a lot, for commercial projects. And heck, in this town, there are always these student deals that are, not even under construction yet, and parents all over the state have signed leases for apartments that are prospective future bricks and mortar.
The difference here is the legal term is a build-to-suit lease, where you start with the bare minimum of designs, and I didn't get any designs until last week. And then you just make sure that the building gets built according to that. And when the certificate of occupancy is issued, and in this case, we got to have the CO and the closeout by DCA before we start the 5-year term of the lease. I mean, thanks for including me. Legally, it's interesting work. It does keep the brain cells turning, but it's in market. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Any other comments before we move on? My computer's not cooperating with me to look back at the agenda. What is the next thing on their agenda list? So you could help me.
Would it be right with the board if I drop off there and go back to work on the lease?
Yes. Thank you for all you've done, Dan, and I don't think we need anything of you at this moment.
It's a pleasure to see everybody. Thank you
Right.
for being board members, and take care. Talk to you later.
See you later, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. So the next item is a quick update and potential discussion, any questions you guys have. But Stephanie, Lynn, and I have met with Sam Latimer from Rushton, which was the audit firm that did our annual audit last year. Talked with Sam a little bit about the audit this year, made plans for the timeline, which will be very similar to last year's timeline so that we can turn in our annual reporting to DCA. He provided the letter of engagement, which I had attached for y'all to review. It looks very similar to last year. The estimated cost he put in there was an hourly rate not to exceed $13,000. And I look back in the records, last year's audit, which was a little more complex because it was the first year and we needed to kind of get everything organized and in order, it cost us $9,000. So the estimated cost for this year's audit is probably going to be somewhere in that same range between 9,000 and 13,000. We'll just have to see if it goes faster this year. It may just be an hourly rate and we'll see if it's 9,000 or not. But I would bet I would probably just have us plan on the amount that we spent last year. So I think the next step would be any questions that you may have had related to that letter of engagement or the process.
I don't have any questions. Does it require a motion then for us to approve the letter of engagement?
Yes, please.
All right, I'd like for someone to entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Okay.
All right, I heard Kelly say I so move. So who seconds? Erica, you want a second?
Second.
There we go. Now we got Erica in there.
Thank
right.
you.
So we
Well,
got a
let's,
motion and a second to approve the letter of engagement. Any further discussion about that letter? I think it's fine. All right. Seeing no discussion, I'd like to call the question. All those in favor of approving the letter of engagement for them, raise your hand. Or all right. It looks like we got it, all four members here. All right. The motion carries.
all right,
Next
so Stephanie
agenda.
and I will keep on trucking on that item then.
Okay.
The next item in the agenda is discussion nominations. We may want to wait until the next session, or we can discuss now, but nominations for a secretary since Tim is no longer with us.
And his wife has replaced him, correct, Todd?
Gabriella, yes, and she sent the note that she was tied up with a patient.
I saw that just before I got on.
Clinic.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to maybe wait until we could do it in the special called meeting, have discussion nominations.
That's what I would do. I mean, we're gonna have to meet to approve the PSA, so we might as well do that at the same time.
Okay.
And Stephanie will be back from vacation. We'll have more people present to vote on it, and hopefully Gabriella can join us as well.
Okay, so I'll make a note and I'll add that to the agenda for the special called meeting.
Okay.
All right. Moving
What's
on,
next?
staff report. So the annual renewal of the JDA public officials insurance is coming through. So we've submitted the application for that, for the renewal. And the cost is going to be the same as last year, which was $2,672, which we have in the budget. So I think she said that will happen later this month. I think the coverage is good through the end of this month. And so I'd followed up about a week ago, and it sounds like that'll work its way through here pretty soon in the next week or two.
Okay, well, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this expenditure of those funds for the insurance.
So moved.
All right, who's got a second?
Gertz, second.
Gert, second. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion of the motion at hand? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion to pay the officer's insurance? Raise your hand. All right, opposed? Motion passes unanimously. What's next?
All right. The next item is I just wanted to give y'all a quick update. Remember, I had submitted the grant request to the state for an additional $1 million worth of ARPA funds to fund the turntable, the revolving loan. I finally heard back from them in June, but we didn't unfortunately receive the funds. So I just wanted to close the loop on that so you would know that I had heard back from them.
Sure. Okay. Anything else for your staff report?
Can I
That's it. Oh,
can
go
I-
ahead.
give a reason that we weren't considered?
No.
And I don't think they're obligated either, so.
Yeah, unfortunately. I had put another request in and all it said was denied with no comment. So
There are a lot of requests out there, I'll say that.
There are. Everybody wants some of that
This is
pie.
It's like a mantra with everybody who I've engaged with in the last couple of months.
Yep, absolutely. Does that satisfy your report?
that's it. Yes, sir.
All right, well, I don't know if there's an attorney's report, but since our attorney skedaddled on us, we don't have attorney's report.
Oh,
So,
the other thing I needed to share with you is Stephanie is on vacation right now. And she apologized for not having the treasurer's report ready. I think this meeting snuck up on Stephanie and me both. We were like, oh, there's a meeting this week. But she said as soon as she's back from vacation, she'll generate the report and we'll send it out. We can either do it during the special call meeting, but either way, we'll send it out so you'll have it for the quarter.
Okay. All right. So what is the next thing adjournment?
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Dodd, I saw Dodd's finger, and I see two fingers for Erica, so Dodd put the motion, Erica seconded. All those in favor of adjourning? Wave, whatever. All right, we are adjourned, folks. Thanks for your
All right.
time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.